gentlemen. My name is Michael Scillia with ASG. I'm one of your directors at NIBA. We wanted to update you. I'm also head of the, with Jerry Adler. Jerry, are you in here still? Nope, Jerry's not in the room. With Newman and Morrison? Okay, he's my co-chair. We've reported to you before on some of the ongoing accomplishments that NIBA as an organization has been able to proffer with the SEC as well as with FINRA. And two of the items that we had been working on for over a year, we've reported on 4 times now since last September when we were at the SEC on your behalf, and they had to do with the broker-dealer financial responsibility rules that have recently, 2/3 of them just got passed. 1/3, fortunately, is still in the works, and we hope that that includes, by the way, our ability to withdraw capital as broker-dealers from our own firms, and when we can do that, under what circumstances, which is pretty important to most of the broker-dealers that own their own firms in this room. Obviously, that's still an important one that's yet to come down, but two big things that came out in the 2 announcements that were just published in August recently, less than 3 weeks ago, regarding the broker-dealer financial responsibility rules. And one is, by the way, I should mention for a couple of seconds, there were several entities in our industry that were lobbying to the SEC against organizations like NIBA and against organizations like RISA or TNDDA, et cetera, or IPA, or even SIFMA, who did not go in and say, you know, please do away with the PCOAB audits for broker-dealers. We knew that that wasn't going to happen. We never proffered that. We've been trying to diffuse their enthusiasm for that, because all they were accomplishing was drawing attention to things that broker-dealers are currently able to do that the SEC wanted to maybe rein in a little bit. So not only did those people cost us money, because now the SEC, not only do we continue to have a PCOAB audit, but directly related to those people's activities, we now also have to have our exemptions for those of us that clear through larger clearing companies and are not self-clearing, which is the vast majority of us in this room, if not virtually all our members. We now have to have an additional part of the audit, the PCOAB audit, give certification to that exemption, that we didn't violate that, which means your auditors are all going to charge you a little more, and you can thank those people that went to the SEC trying to get rid of all PCOAB audits, because those people enraged them and made them look at other classifications. So when you see those people next time saying they're doing good work for you and they're trying to do, they didn't do good work for you. They did the opposite for you. And we need to remember that so that we can go to them individually when we see them at conferences and the issuers see them and say, you didn't do us any good. You hurt us. You cost us more money. So now what's going to happen is, besides that thing, the other thing is accruals and closings. It's brought more attention to accruals. Fortunately, because of a lot of people's efforts, we were able to get the SEC to at least do no more harm. You know, they're not going to raise how much if we keep some of our money in money market funds. They're not going to raise how much we have to take a haircut on that or add more money. They're not going to do that. They're not going to immediately do some other objectionable things they were going to do that without the intervention of those people that have been working in your behalf, they would have done. So while we didn't get them to turn around and say, okay, we're just throwing out the whole proposals we made in 170 pages, we got them to do no further harm, which was, I guess, keeping a status quo in that regard in terms of accruals and our net capital was a good thing. So again, the ability to how much and how fast and when we can take money out of our own broker-dealers, that's coming up. I don't know whether Mike Macciarelli's department's going to do that before the end of the year, but it's certainly going to be soon. You know, it might be the beginning of the year. On the new proposals that just came out on obviously we all know 506C goes into effect on Monday. However, the proposals they asked in 300 questions that are due also on Monday, our comments, and they got over 320 comment letters so far, have to do with how they're going to enforce that. To the extent that anybody that's going to go out next Monday and use advertising or use general distribution is putting themselves in a guinea pig position until the SEC comes out with the proposals that we're commenting on now. They've already got over 320 letters, and they're probably going to get another 300 letters the rest of this week and early next week, because all the big commenters are waiting to see everybody else's comments before they comment. The big thing that we need every one of your help on with the SEC, and write as many letters, short paragraphs, whatever, is the Dodd-Frank Act 3 years ago mandated that the SEC in 3 years redefine accredited investor status. Not just raising it by some index, that's bullcrap. Not just saying, okay, we're going to have $1.2 million or $1.5 million or $800,000 as the net worth and $250,000 or $225,000 as the income. None of that matters, because we all know that when they did that income requirement, that didn't qualify somebody as an accredited investor. That just defined who was able to lose money easiest and who was able to be illiquid in illiquid investments and private placements and 506s, who was able to do that. That's all that did. That didn't qualify anybody. Fortunately, the staff is now willing to listen to your arguments and say, you know what? We believe that other people who don't have $200,000 or $300,000 of income and who don't have $1 million, they should be qualified potentially because of their experience. Should a securities lawyer, should a real estate lawyer, should a syndicator, should a broker-dealer, should they be qualified even if they have a $500,000 or $750,000 net worth or $130,000 income instead of a $200,000 income? Should an income that's in Des Moines, Iowa, or Gillette, Wyoming, or Tucson, Arizona, should they have a lesser requirement because their cost of living is less and they have the ability to earn back more of their disposable money than a $200,000 person in San Francisco or New York? For the first time in my life, and I'm 65, the SEC staff is considering that argument. Well, guess what? It's not a predetermined thing that they're going to just increase it. They're willing to listen. Everybody here has a vested interest, whether you're an issuer or whether you're a broker-dealer, you have a vested interest in increasing the number of accredited investors that can invest in your deals. Because guess what? Whether you believe the $4.3 million number, 4.3 million number of accredited investors, or the other government agency that has it at 7.9 million, between 4 and 8, that's a pretty big span. But even if there are 800, there was only 172,000 people between 2009 and December of 2012 that invested in 506D deals. 172,000 people. All you issuers were chasing the same 172,000 people. Just didn't know it. That's less than 2% of the existing base. Well, guess what? There are 14 million taxpayers between 100,000 and 200,000 income, and between 500,000 and 1 million in net worth. 14 million versus the 4 and 8. Wouldn't it be nice to have those 14 million in the accredited investor base at maybe a smaller dollar amount, say 10 or 15% of their net worth, like they did with the crowdfunding? There's already a precedent. So we need your help in going to the SEC and saying, please consider alternative criteria besides just the threshold. And every one of you should write a comment letter, whether you're an issuer or whether you're a broker-dealer or you're one of our associates. Obviously, nobody wants the 15-day rule. It'd be great if you could say something about that, but a lot of comments have come in on that. NIBA is going to be putting out its position letter shortly. Jerry Adler's working on the draft right now that we wrote. We answered about 60% of the questions they asked. So ours, along with Risa's, is going to be one of the most definitive comments that they've received to date. And I have to tell you, they're listening to us because they mentioned us as an organization, NIBA, as an organization. We got 27 citations in the recent broker-dealer responsibility rules in the Federal Register. The first time ever, NIBA got 27 citations. okay? We've never had that many in any issue. So my final comment to you, there's a book outside here that Sonny Barkatz, who's an attorney and one of our sponsors, has written. It is one of the finest books on the subject of the use of finders in our industry. We all, as issuers, as our associate members, as guest members here who are coming in that are non-registered as broker-dealers, we all want you to get paid for what you do legally, and we want you to prosper and continue to come to our conferences and do what you can do without being a registered broker-dealer. And we want you to not put issuers in a position where they may have rescission of their securities. So please, reminders, you may have to read this book, especially pages 20, 33, and the last page, because those pages cite things that have happened right now. We just was a recent case in March, and the SEC is cracking down on this. And when they crack down, they're not going after the broker-dealer, they're going after the issuer. So some of you may have to rewrite your contract language to put it in consistency. This is a great book at a great time. It's for free. It's outside. Thank you, Sonny, for writing it and giving it to us. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for coming.